A couple of years ago, I added run a marathon to my bucket list. Even though I hated running as a kid and I thought I would never really do it, it was one of those lofty goals. But my friend Trevor challenged me and he told me about a marathon in Millinocket, Maine that is free. All you have to do is go up to Millinocket, Maine and run it. It's in December, so it's cold and there was snow on the ground, but it was awesome. So I'm going to give a little bit of advice, a little bit of encouragement to anyone who viewed running the way that I did. Kind of terrible and a waste of time. And now I really love it. So there are actually like four things I would talk about today. So one would be I want to talk about just general advice real quick, a couple things that I learned just to throw them out there. Two would be my equipment, things that I used. Along with that, my training. I would take you through my training, what I did in the 9 months that I prepared for my marathon. Some say you could do it in 3. 9 is much more chill. And then the fourth thing would be just a little bit of the technical how to run. I'm not a pro, just want to give a little advice, what I learned. I want to start off by just hitting you with some advice right off the bat. Have fun. Try to enjoy it, whatever that means for you. I think a lot of people get very regimented with their training, and if that's what you need, that's totally fine. But for me, that would have driven me crazy. It was more about being social, having fun, being active. So if that means going on a hike one day, or playing soccer the next, or trail run, or running around New York City, or running with friends, and that leads into another point, conversation pace. A lot of people, they run way too fast in all of their training, and there's a time for that. But for me, most of my running was conversation pace, where I could, in theory, have a conversation, and sometimes in actuality, talk to a friend who would run with me. Makes things much more social, much more fun. Track your runs. Use an app, track your pace, see your improvements, see where you've run, turn it into a game. City Strides, they let you track the streets in your town. Try to run all the streets in your town, get to know your neighbors. Set mini races before your big race. For me, it was a Tough Mudder and a 5K. And do it with friends, have some fun. It's lower pressure and it helps you with your training and gives you little goals before you get to your big goal. Okay, next I need to talk about gear. Voila! These are the Champion Performance Gusto Performance shoes or something. They're great. And for $18 or $17 I paid for these things on sale on Amazon, they're hard to beat. I would say don't go crazy. Don't spend tons of money on your shoes because it's not going to be worth it. You might hate running. You might love it, but you might hate it. So don't go too crazy. Buy something from a reputable brand. Buy something inexpensive, not cheap, inexpensive. Still look for something quality, obviously. And then see if you like it. And if you like it, then you can shop for a more expensive shoe that meets your needs. The only other piece of advice I would give for equipment, buy a little belt like this. It is slim, but it can hold a water bottle, 12 to 16 ounces, your wallet, phone if you're playing some music, something like that. It's really nice because it's slim, adjustable, and then you can just throw it in the laundry afterwards. This I really enjoyed. I ran for a few months without it, but once I got this, game changer. Conventionally, you would be running in your training 3 to 5 times a week with one long run per week, slowly upping your mileage. But I took a different approach, a much more relaxed approach, much more about general health, about general cardio, going on hikes in between, playing soccer in between, not worrying so much about the timing or even the mileage, although I would want to get faster over time, I would want my mileage to go up over time, but it wasn't some calculated, measured out thing. It was just a trend that I wanted to see over time. So in my 9 months of training, I had a total of 44 runs. Again, that's not enough according to all the conventional methods, but I would say for me, it was fine. I started with my first run of 7 minutes and 45 seconds to hit 1 mile, and by the end of it, I was pretty much dead. But over the course of my running, I slowly started enjoying it more. I slowly started increasing my mileage, and that's where tracking is important because it helps you see the progress. If you're not tracking carefully, you won't even know that you're making progress because one day a run might feel terrible, but it was actually really fast. Another run might feel great, but it was actually really slow. So a lot of factors contribute to that based on what you ate, how much you slept, whether you went up in elevation or down, whether you were running with a friend, or whether you were sad that day, whatever it would be that would affect that. If you don't have a way of tracking it, you may not know. So over the course of my 44 runs, slowly increasing, hitting certain checkpoints along the way, and my longest run before the marathon was 20 miles. Knowing that final day there was going to be some adrenaline and I was able to give it my all, I think 20 is about as much as you would ever need to do. Some people say your longest run before the marathon can even be 18. It could be for you, but for me, I think 20 was the right number. So I would say try to run at least once a week. Give yourself 6 to 9 months to train, and just slowly increase your training. And then I'm going to actually walk you through my final few weeks of training so you can see specifically what those runs look like. All right, I know this is such a not tech savvy way of doing this, but I just like the physical writing things down. So I had a goal of doing a half marathon during the summer. And so I did. I hit my 13-mile mark in August. And then a month later, I hit 15 miles. And then I did another, 13 miles. That was in October. And then mid-October, I did an 18-mile long run. And then I knew that I had a little bit of time. So I did my longest run of 20 miles before my actual marathon on December 7th. So over the course of months here, from August through December, those are my long runs. And as you can see from the side here, only 4 short runs in the final 9 weeks. So in between these runs you see here, there were only 4 short runs. And I know a lot of people would say that is not enough, and they're probably right, but it worked for me. It was about those long runs at reasonable, slow paces, taking my time, trying to enjoy them, and then fitting some short runs in when I could, just to keep my body fresh in between the long runs. So as far as running technique, I don't have a lot to share. I'm not a pro. I've read Born to Run and a few other books, and I pulled things out of there. So Born to Run has a quote: easy, light, smooth, fast. And one of the guys in the book says that, and that became a bit of a mantra for me. I would want to be easy, want to be light and smooth. And then as far as fast, not the speed that I'm running, but the speed of my feet, because you want smaller steps rather than big steps. Big steps mean you have to kind of leap between steps and slam down. That's not what you want. You don't want big pounding motions. You want light, easy, smooth, and you end up becoming fast when you're light, easy, and smooth. It almost starts slow, but the speed comes in time. So the only other thing I would say is back straight, standing tall, eyes forward, chin up, almost like running with confidence. And that comes with time, but not wanting to be slouched over and trudging along. When you start to feel that you're slouching and you're bent over and you're slamming your feet down on each step, that's when you know you're kind of losing it a little bit, and it's probably time to call it a day or just walk for a little bit, because you don't want to hurt yourself. It's just not worth it. So take your time, slow your training down, be smooth, be light, be easy. Okay, so I think that sums it up. I wanted to post this video because this channel started as kind of following my bucket list items, and now I'm like an old man compared to 10 years ago when I was posting some of these videos. But I love posting this stuff, and if it helps even just one person, I think that's awesome. So if one person is inspired to go out and run and says, hey, wait, Danny always hated running, and he then ran a marathon, and now he loves running, then I'm happy. I think YouTubers are supposed to say things like subscribe and like, but I don't really care about that stuff. But I guess you can comment if you were inspired. Sure. All right. Have a good one. Bye.